everyone, Jacob from Jacobito Yoga. Today in our Yoga Essentials series, I want to focus on some of the most basic standing poses. Today, let's dive into Warrior Two. Go ahead, step to the front of your mat. Choose one foot, bring it back to wherever's comfortable. We'll work on that later. And in Warrior Two, the most essential thing is to make sure that your knee is directly over your ankle. Second thing, your hips are not bent over or crouched, but rather level. And I want to encourage you to take your hands, maybe make little crabby claws, place them on the hips, and then take a look down at your arms, right? And if you notice that you're bent over like a little teapot, or you're sort of at an angle here, everyone's body is naturally different. Use your fingers to put your index finger on your hip point and see if you can get those level, all right? So we've established the foot, we're establishing the hip, and now I want you to take a look at your back left foot. Now traditionally in Warrior Two, this is pointing straight out to the side of the mat, so the toes are looking at the wall in front of you. But what I want you to do is toggle it back a little bit. See how that feels. Does that add or reduce tension in the hips? Or if you toggle it forward a little bit, just walk it right up. Are you more comfortable in this type of stance? All right. So in yoga, there are no wrong answers. And as you're just getting started, there's no first place. So keep an eye on the front knee and ankle, level the hips, and then find the place that's comfortable for you in Warrior Two. So there's your foundation. All right, next. I want you to rise up. Imagine a string is pulling your head right up to the ceiling. And from here, feel length all the way through your upper body and your upper trunk. Take a deep inhale in, exhale out, and raise your arms up. Everything lifted, everything comfortable. Now with your arms here, sometimes there's an inclination to just sort of flop them down. What I want to ask you to do is bring them up, and as you bring them up, lengthen them. Imagine from index finger to index finger, you have an energy pulsing through you. Don't forget about your bottom knee. Now turn both palms upwards to the ceiling. A little bit different, like you're serving somebody hors d'oeuvres. Hello, would you like an hors d'oeuvre? Bring your arms back out, nice and stiff. Elbow sockets looking up towards the ceiling. And you'll notice as you do that a few times, your shoulders roll back. And as your shoulders roll back, that's a great motion. But we want to make sure that our stomach doesn't protrude forward. So while rolling the shoulders back, bring the ribs in. Another way to do that is to tighten up the belly button against the spine. Imagine that visual. So our palms are facing up, our hands are nice and straight out side to side. And with that backwards rotation from the bicep, bring the hands down. Now in this classic Warrior Two setup, what we have is our biceps pulling backwards and lifting the chest, our tummy and our head tall, but our forearms rotating opposite direction. So often in yoga, you'll see two different rotations happening at once, and this basic Warrior Two is no exception. All right, so come back to the center, switch sides on your mat. I'll do it over here. So start up at the front of the mat, kick the opposite leg back. For demonstration purposes, I'll start over here. And it's the same setup that we talked about on the other side. So step one, take a look at your feet. Knee directly over shin, shin over ankle. Crabby claws, bring them to your hips. Make sure they're level, right? Keep an eye out for if your hip points are in two different places. Even them out. And use the back foot while the toes are pointing straight towards the wall ahead of you now, off the side of the mat. Toggle walking it back while still keeping bend in your knee up front, or walking it forward. Maybe give it a little jump if you need. Find where you find the right amount of tension in your hips, not so that it's uncomfortable, but so that you feel it. Raise the head up, string pulling right up through the crown. Bring the arms out to the sides, and once again, flip the palms. Bring the chest forward, but tuck in the ribs, right? A lot of things happening at once here. Inhale here, and slowly flip the palms back towards the ground. We're here in Warrior Two. This is an excellent Warrior Two setup. Take an inhale here. And on the exhale, bring your hands to your hips, set back up. One more thing about Warrior Two that I want to share with you. Plant your foot up front, come back to the original side. Get yourself set up. Really common in Warrior Two is to pull the knee back or overextend, maybe in a more posture that you may use while in other types of training. This type of pressure on the knee is almost guaranteed to give you pain. I know because it happened to me. So find your alignment, and a really good way to test the alignment of your foot and your leg is to raise the toes. So take a look at the toes. I'm raising them up off the ground, and as that happens, the ball of the foot and the heel dig into the ground, which brings alignment to the rest of the leg. So for example, if I was over here out on an angle and I tried to bring my toes up, the leg naturally shifts back. Let's try that on the other side. Come into your Warrior Two stance. Check the legs, check the hips, the hip points. How are your elbows looking? Aligned? Okay. Now, raise the toes on the foot up front and feel how that changes the placement of your knee. It's almost incredible. When you raise the toes, your body naturally aligns and place the toes back on the ground. Exhale, and then a big inhale in order to open up your Warrior Two. Remember to get external rotation back on the biceps while rotating down on the forearm. All right? Come back to center, straighten the legs, walk your feet together. This has been Jacobito Yoga Essentials, Warrior Two. Click on another video to find out some more yoga essentials that you'll see come up time and time again, whether you're practicing with me, at home, or in a studio. Bye.